It's Wednesday, July 17. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. The House of Representatives voted yesterday to extend the state of public emergency in the St. Andrew South Police Division by another 90 days. Prime Minister Andrew Holness started the debate.
The states of public emergency are a very effective tool in controlling the geographical spaces in which murders are occurring.
44 MPs voted in favor of extending the two-week-old exercise by an additional 3 months, and only 2 against: opposition MPs Peter Bunting and Mark Golding.
Constitutional violations, however well-meaning, should concern all of us. Whether you're a big person in corporate offices, a student, or a little person hustling on the road, or even if you're sitting in this very house, the Constitution protects all of us. Even from efforts of the government that may be well-meaning, but which in reality reduce our rights as citizens.
The Prime Minister noted that despite reductions in murders and shootings in vulnerable areas like the Kingston Western and St. Catherine North Police Divisions, nationally, between January 1 and July 15 this year, there were 726 murders and a similar number of shootings across 19 police divisions.
In St. Catherine North, we would have seen a reduction of 22 murders amounting to 32.8% relative to last year this time. And of course, we will recall that St. Catherine North benefited from a state of public emergency which was declared last year. We also saw, or we are seeing now, a reduction in murders in Westmoreland, 26 less murders being committed, or a 33.8% reduction. In Hanover, 12 less murders committed, resulting in a 37.5% reduction. In St. Mary, 8 murders less committed, resulting in a 38.1% reduction.
Holness said the figures showed that while the administration was seeing results in going in the right direction, it was obvious that in some other areas they were going in the wrong direction. 17 members were absent from the proceedings, which suggests that at least 10 of the 29 opposition MPs favored opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips's position that while the SOE was not the best answer to the crime situation, it has at least created a climate for bipartisan cooperation on tackling the problem. Dr. Phillips agreed that the increased presence of the security forces offered relief to the residents of the crime-torn areas. However, he said that it produced a balloon effect wherein, while the area was expanding in some areas, it was being squeezed in others. However, Phillips said that beyond that, there were lessons to be learned, including the need for intelligence-driven operations.
You can have cordons, curfew, raids, intensified policing activity, but when targeted, it keeps the criminals, the violent criminals, off balance. And that you don't have the situation where the general citizenry have had their rights suspended. With the sustained use of the state of emergency, you either are so limiting the powers that you exercise that it really has no deterrent effect.
Dr. Phillips also urged the government to resume bipartisan discussions which have not been held since the parties met in January. Firefighters are investigating the cause of a fire at a warehouse along Lyndhurst Road in St. Andrew yesterday. The flames engulfed the entire building. A man was rescued from inside the building by firefighters. Residents of Lower Lyndhurst Road and Brenton Avenue in St. Andrew fought desperately yesterday to remove items from their homes as the fire ripped through the warehouse. Some householders on Lyndhurst Road in the vicinity of the Calvary Cemetery doused their houses with water as a preemptive measure. Luckily, firefighters prevented the huge blaze from spreading. We'll have more information as the story develops. Superintendent Wayne Cameron has been elected the new chairman of the Police Officers Association, the POA. The Jamaica Constabulary Force has reported that Cameron heads a 7-member executive, which includes Superintendent David White, who will take on the role of vice chairman, and Superintendent Mildred Jones-Williams, who was chosen for the role of secretary-treasurer. The POA represents members of the JCF from the rank of assistant superintendent and above. The executive members are elected by delegates at the association's annual conference. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson is imploring police personnel to observe the established rules and regulations of the force when executing their duties. Addressing senior officers at the annual general meeting of the Police Officers Association in St. James recently, he noted indiscipline on the part of the police undermines the core values of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, noting that at all times, citizens should be treated with respect and their rights observed. Major General Anderson told the police officers that they must respect the rule of law at all times. He noted that a police force that operates under the rule of law is one of the cornerstones of thriving societies. Major General Anderson urged the senior police officers to play their part in the renewal and transformation of the JCF. 2 unions are welcoming the decision by Labour Minister Shahini Robinson to refer the status and work arrangements of security guards to a joint select committee of Parliament. In her sectoral presentation last Tuesday in the House of Representatives, Mrs. Robinson said the Labour Ministry is moving to prosecute companies that are in breach of the labour laws. She said since last month, 5 companies have been referred to the Ministry's legal division for prosecution.
This will allow the issues affecting security guards to be ventilated and deliberated through open and transparent public discourse. Mr. Speaker, this Minister of Labour is committed to a resolution of this important issue once and for all.
President of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, Vincent Morrison, is suggesting that the ministry develop a system which will make it easier for security guards to file complaints. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program this week, Mr. Morrison said he hopes the Joint Select Committee will not take long to materialize. Rudolph Thomas, Vice President of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, said the mechanism in place to ensure that security companies comply with the law is inadequate. He has also welcomed the Joint Select Committee, noting that it would be a, quote, good way to ensure coverage, end quote, for security guards, which he said they make up 19% of the labor force. Security guards are not unionized. The Bureau of Standards Jamaica, BSJ, has been lauded for rendering exemplary and distinguished service over the past 50 years. Speaking at the BSJ's 50th anniversary celebrations, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Dermot Spence, said 50 years of any organization is, quote, truly a significant milestone, end quote. Spence said it is an opportune time for the BSJ to reflect on the journey thus far as it looks ahead to continue its work. Noting that the ministry remains grateful for the BSJ's commitment to standardization and quality, Spence said, quote, we pledge to continue to work with you as we strive to build a better Jamaica, end quote. Christine Lagarde has said she will step down as managing director of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. It comes ahead of a decision on her nomination to become head of the European Central Bank, the ECB. Ms. Lagarde said she would leave the IMF on September 12. The former French cabinet minister has been head of the IMF since 2011. If the European Council approves her ECB nomination, she will become the central bank's first ever female leader, responsible for the euro and the monetary policy of the Eurozone. She was elected as the first female boss of the IMF, replacing Dominique Strauss-Kahn. In view of the current heat waves in Europe and predictions that this phenomenon will hit various parts of the Americas, the Pan-American Health Organization, World Health Organization, is urging countries in the region to be prepared due to the impact of that this could have on people's health, including the risk of death. PAHO noted that during the Southern Hemisphere's summer of 2018-2019, 7 countries in the Americas, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay, were affected by heat waves, a phenomenon never seen before in the region. Weather forecasts for North America, Central America, and the Caribbean predict heat waves during the summer of 2019, which PAHO said could increase drought-induced stress, lead to forest fires, and have harmful effects on the human health. PAHO said it has developed a guide to help countries in the region formulate contingency plans to address heat waves. This guide, it said, provides recommendations that the health sector and meteorological agencies can implement to prepare for and better respond to this threat, promote health and prevent adverse effects of heat waves, treat affected people, and save lives. The document said countries should strengthen the epidemiological surveillance of heat-related morbidity and mortality, the capacity of health services, and enhance the actions of local authorities, the media, and communities in terms of interagency response measures, prevention measures, and self-care. Abortion is illegal in Jamaica, but the government is contemplating legislation to loosen its abortion rights law to allow women to terminate their pregnancies caused by rape or incest. Let's hear the opinion of the people in Jamaica today.
No, well, I don't support the legal. I don't support abortion. Because for abortion, I wouldn't be here. My kids wouldn't be here. So I don't think it should be legalized in Jamaica. No. Since, on the other hand, women have the rights to their body, but I don't think it should be legalized because it would get out of hand. Because without it right now, it's out of hand. So you can imagine if them legalize it.
Abortion is not a thing supposed to be legalized. It's not supposed to be happening, none at all. But then some people do it because many reasons beyond control. Sometimes some people have to. But I don't think it should be legalized. When you legalize, I'm going to take too much advantage of the situation and I don't see it necessary.
The country is almost overpopulated and it don't make sense to have a lady have all 4 or 5 and cannot manage her. So might as well, if them have how much children and them can afford it, them do it. Kind of makes sense to have your children and suffer and sugar and water you give them. That's not good for them.
No, that's not right. I remember about me there right now. Straight. I remember my 6 pin them. I mean, I remember I think about them. So, as a matter of fact, I take run me out. I couldn't say about abortion. I remember that I'm pregnant and I not do it. I swear. It's against the law. Yeah. I'm a God-fearing girl, so I'm depend that to them.
I can't make a life say don't take one. Don't believe in it.
Well, I don't think that is right because God gives life, right? And it's not like it's blood that we are aborting, it's a human life. So I think it's not right. I think they should allow that.
I don't really support that. Enough for the doctor them say them do abortion. And eventually, them see a man kill you too. You understand? A reality check. I don't support that. You have the child. I don't support you. Have the child and you give it up for adoption.
That's not supposed to be legal because it's a sin, like killing an unborn child. It's a fetus inside you, so that's a sin. It's like murder, so that's not supposed to be legal.
No, when a lady get pregnant, she's supposed to bring the kid. Because enough women want to get pregnant and can't get pregnant. So why getting pregnant and dashing it away? You protect yourself from that then. Instead of you carry something like your woman, then after they will kill it. That don't make no sense. I murder that.
The US dollar on Tuesday, July 16, ended trading at Jamaican $137.03, down by 78 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The summary says the Canadian dollar ended trading at Jamaican $106.26, up from $105.50, while the British pound sterling ended trading at Jamaican $167.56, down from $171.33. In regional news, we look to Guyana. Government and opposition delegations met last week in an effort to find a replacement for former chairman of the GECOM, Guyana Electoral Commission, retired Justice James Patterson. Under the Constitution, the opposition can submit 6 people who are not unacceptable to the president. However, over the weekend, President David Granger shortlisted 2 of his own choices, a move the opposition leader Brat Jagdeo says caught him off guard.
Over the weekend, the Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joseph Harman, informed the opposition leader that the president had shortlisted attorney Cassandra Oz and Justice Claudette LeBennett from a previous list of 8 he had suggested for the post of chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission. The correspondence came as a surprise to the opposition leader. Following the orders by the Caribbean Court of Justice last Friday, the president said he was prepared to appoint a new chairman of the Elections Commission by Monday. The opposition leader wrote him immediately after his address to the nation on Friday afternoon to say he was prepared to work through the weekend to achieve that objective. But the president's office replied with a suggestion of the 2 names.
So he did not respond to our request for a meeting and to say we are available to meet throughout the weekend. Suddenly, we received this letter that we must consider these 2 names from the list of 8 names that they had submitted before. So there was no further clarity on the matter.
The opposition leader then sought clarification of whether the informal process of face-to-face meetings had ended, and he spoke with Mr. Harman directly, who said no, and that the president was interested in a face-to-face meeting. But up to this afternoon's press conference, there was no meeting scheduled.
So the president can't want to claim that urgency, and he's prepared to make an appointment by Monday, and then have his minions declare that they still want the consensual process to move forward, issue a press release to that effect, and then not be prepared to meet. So far, we've wasted the whole weekend, so people can see who is delaying the matter. The whole country could see that.
There has been no clarification of whether the names submitted by the opposition leader are acceptable to the president or not. The talks between the 2 sides broke down last Thursday, with the opposition saying it could get no clear indication from the government of which names the president definitely has no problems with.
Meanwhile, U.S. and British diplomats in Guyana are urging its leaders to adhere to the ruling of the Caribbean Court of Justice on the replacement of the GECOM chair and its upholding of the no-confidence motion passed against the government last December.
The United States of America's ambassador, United Kingdom's High Commission to Guyana, and head of the European Delegation Union to Guyana all issued a joint statement Monday, July 15, following the issuance of the Caribbean Court of Justice definitive orders on 12 July 2019. The Caribbean Court of Justice, Guyana's final court, has spoken, the joint ABCU noted. The ABCU urged that it is important to the rule of law that all invoked actors abide by its ruling and the relevant provisions of the Constitution. The ABCU urged all players to do so expeditiously. The contentious issues are the appointment of a chairman of GECOM, which is key to the holding of elections. Further to that, the opposition wants elections within 3 months with an expired official list of electors, OLE. Meanwhile, the governing APNU AFC said that for credible elections to be conducted, house-to-house registration is a must. to cleanse an expired and largely padded voters list before moving forward with credible elections.
In sports, as Jamaica's reggae girls get ready for the Pan American Games in Lima, Peru from July 26 to August 11, they have been hit with the news that captain and central defender Konya Plummer will miss the tournament through injury. However, head coach Hugh Menzies, who will also miss a number of players from his FIFA Women's World Cup squad, says this is a great opportunity for him to test his pool of players and to give them valuable experience. Although Plummer's leadership will be missed, Menzies says he has others in the team who can lead, and he says this will be the time for one of those players to step up to the plate. In other sporting news, Guyana and St. Lucia picked up wins in their opening encounters of the CONCACAF Under-20 Women's Championship over the weekend.
The Under-20 football team commenced their campaign in the CONCACAF Women's Championship on a winning note when they defeated Bermuda 2-0 in an intriguing contest on Saturday last at Lenora. Guyana's goals came from a double by midfielder Guyana Knights in both quarters of the match to give Guyana the perfect start in the tournament. Next contest will come from Antigua and Barbuda. According to the head coach, Ivan Joseph, the focus of the team is to take one game at a time in the tournament.
It's a tough game, and if you can see, we had people just barely hanging on. You know, this game means nothing if we don't take care of business. I'm not even sure who we're playing next because my mind was just on today's match, but tomorrow's a recovery day. We've got to eat right now before we even leave the stadium to make sure we're ready to go, and then we watch tape and decide who do we play and how do we play, right? And, you know, I thought we had some good performances from everybody, and now it's to take a moment to celebrate, but then turn our heads to the next game.
Also in the opening encounter, St. Lucia stunned Suriname 4-3 to win that match. St. Lucia Tanika Bernard blasted a hat-trick in the 28th, 57th, 64th minute to seal the team's victory.
And that's the news on PBCJ. I'm Simona Absalom. A pleasant viewing.